Chapter 71 The decisive battle begins, first update to test the waters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Under a moonlit sky, it looked like a waterfall was cascading down from the stars. Humph, Tiendo Academy is just a bunch of losers. What's there to worry about? Douglas scoffed, a look of dissatisfaction on his face as he stared at Qian Renxue. I went to check out Fang Xuan. That guy, he's gotten even stronger. Qian Renshue's face was icy, her beautiful eyes flashing with murderous intent. Huh, so what? He's just a soul lord. Even if he's leveled up, he's still small potatoes. Don't sweat it, I'll take him out tomorrow for sure. A wave of murderous intent rolled off him, dropping the temperature in the air. Douglas crossed his arms, gave Qian Renxue a hard look, and said, just don't forget your promise, miss. Of course. You offing Fang Xuan and eliminating that threat for me? Getting you into the worship hall for training, and a titled Douluo to mentor you? Piece of cake. Qian Renxue smiled faintly. After all, Douglas, you're supposed to be Wuhuan Palace's top genius. Having you lurk in Tiendo Academy just to help me is kind of overkill. Suddenly, she remembered something. A faint light flickered on her hand, and a white jade bottle appeared in her palm. This is evil spirit flower fruit. It's no fairy herb, but it'll give you a serious soul power boost, fast. Before she finished, Qian Renxue handed Douglas the bottle, saying seriously, remember, only use this stuff if you absolutely have to. The medicinal properties are pretty nasty and can mess with your body. Haha, relax. Taking out a scrub like Fang Xuan. I don't need that evil spirit flower crud. A flicker of greed in his eyes, Douglas snatched the bottle, a confident smirk spreading across his face, like he already knew he was going to win tomorrow. Qian Renxue said quietly, I hope so. Meanwhile, after Fang Xuan copied Qian Renshue's martial spirit, he holed up in his room to study his new power. Looking inside, he saw a sacred seraph floating quietly in his dantian, 6 red gold wings shimmering, radiating incredible nobility. The ice phoenix and 9-hearted begonia cowered, afraid to even get close. That's some serious power. This is nothing like your run-of-the-mill martial spirit. Fang Xuan felt the seraph's power and got hyped. It was a super martial spirit, the kind that can ascend to godhood. It had a powerful presence. Even the combined power of the ice phoenix and 9-hearted begonia couldn't match that terrifying aura. Alright. Third martial spirit copied. Just enough to absorb that last 3,000-year soul ring. In Douluo's canon, according to the master, the maximum soul ring age a soul master could absorb was less than 1,760 years. This 3,000-year-old soul ring was way over the limit, but, hey, the master's theory was meant to be broken. Fang Xuan had ingested Liehua Xingjiashu and octagonal black ice grass, and the ice and fire well tempered his body. He was tougher and more resistant than normal people. He absorbed that 3,000-year-old purple ring, and he didn't feel any pressure. Thinking that, he focused and started absorbing the soul ring. Congrats. Soul ring absorbed. Seraph martial soul upgraded to intermediate. Current attributes, seraphic soul, intermediate level 0/200. Talent sword drawing skill, angel blade, upgraded to Judgment of Sorrow. Sorrow of Judgment, a super powerful slash infused with holy light, capable of massive destruction. Attack power against evil increased by 100%. The Seraph martial spirit leveled up. Fang Xuan was stoked. He didn't expect absorbing the 3,000-year soul ring would bump the Seraph martial spirit straight to intermediate, unlocking an even stronger sword drawing skill. Ding dong. Congrats. You've reached level 37. Your current soul power level is LV 37, 10/1500. Not only that, the surging soul power brought by the 3,000-year soul ring leveled Fang Xuan up twice, hitting level 37. As he absorbed the soul ring, his strength was skyrocketing. Most powerful sword drawing system. Host, Fang Xuan. Level, LV 37. Title, Soul Lord. Soul Power, 10/1500. Weapon, Shadowless Knife, Proficiency, Hinayana Drawing Sword Technique, 11/200, Perception of Mind, Sword Power, God-Given Sword, 0, Martial Spirits, Seraphim Soul, Intermediate 0/200, Ice Phoenix Soul, Intermediate 82/200, Nine-Hearted Begonia Soul, Elementary 83/100, Talents, Sorrow of Judgment, Dance of Fine Snow. Healing Blade, Sword Skills, Storm Slash, Super Strong Sword Drawing, Power increased by 30%, Yanhui, Super High Speed Sword Drawing, Speed increased by 30%, Sword Draw Count, 0, Come Out, My Soul Ring, he thought it, and 3 bright yellow-purple rings appeared in Fang Xuan's palm, lighting up the room, full power. Fang Xuan looked at the 3 rings in his palm, feeling the surging soul power. He was pumped. His eyes steeled with resolve, and he clenched his fist. A battle cry started in his heart. Douglas, let's do this, the day of the showdown was finally here. The sky was crystal blue, the sun streaming down, bathing the crowded central square in gold. Today was the final battle of the Genius Tournament, Fang Xuan vs Douglas. This was supposed to be the grand finale, getting everyone hyped. But this year, most people had lost interest. They thought Douglas had already won. He was a level 40 soul master, and his 4th 5,000-year soul ring could crush any young genius, including Fang Xuan. A level 30-something soul lord. He was just cannon fodder. So, the match was pointless. Hey, how long do you think Fang Xuan will last against Douglas? People weren't even betting on who would win anymore. They were betting on how long Fang Xuan could survive. TSK, survive. He'll get one shot. A young student said, hands in his pockets, looking bored. Fang Xuan might be strong, but he's no Yu Tianheng. Yu Tianheng got crushed, so what chance does he have? He's toast. Said a pink-haired girl, dead serious. The square buzzed, but no one thought Fang Xuan could win. When the crowd was ready, Meng Xinji announced the start of the match. I now announce the final battle of the Genius Tournament, Fang Xuan vs Douglas. Begin. Chapter 72 Fang Xuan vs Douglas, Testing the Waters, Second Update. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As the final battle kicked off, the square hushed. All eyes locked on the 2 figures in the ring, not a blink in the crowd. Fang Xuan stood there in black, a long knife at his waist. His hair was a mess, his eyes ice, and he radiated a raw, untamed power, like a blade fresh from its sheath. Across from him, Douglas, with his wild purple hair, arms crossed, smirked, his handsome face twisted with malice. He stared down Fang Xuan, a wave of intense energy rolling off him. Douglas, Fang Xuan said. Fang Xuan. Douglas shot back. The air crackled with tension, thick enough to taste. Douglas's lips curved into a wider smile. He pointed a finger at Fang Xuan, contempt dripping from his voice. One move. What? Fang Xuan frowned, keeping his cool, refusing to rise to the bait. I'll take you out with one move, or I forfeit. Douglas said, arrogance blazing in his eyes. The crowd erupted. Whoa! Did you hear that? Douglas says he's ending it in one shot. People exclaimed, their reactions a mix of disbelief and excitement. Please. Just because he's a higher level? Big deal if you can bully someone in the lower realm. Du Guyan sneered, rolling her eyes at Douglas. Higher level is still strength, Yu Tianheng sighed, still stinging from his own defeat. He stared at Fang Xuan in the ring, muttering, Fang Xuan, pull off a miracle. Go get him. Ji Lingling puffed out her cheeks, fists clenched, a picture of fierce support for Fang Xuan. You had to give it to Douglas. He was cocky, but not baseless. Considering his advantages, a one-move victory wasn't totally out of the question. Defeat me in one move, or forfeit. Fang Xuan's face was like stone. He gave Douglas a level look. Remember those words. I hope you're a man of your word. Asterisk, this guy's way too confident. star. Hope that smile fades real quick, asterisk. One move is all it'll take to deal with a soul master in his 30s like you, Douglas scoffed, his tone oozing confidence, like Fang Xuan was barely worth his time. In the next instant, for soul rings, yellow, purple, rose around his feet, and soul power surged out, rattling the entire arena. Despite his trash talk, Douglas wasn't underestimating his opponent. He was going all out. Besides beating Fang Xuan, he had orders from Qian Renxue, kill Fang Xuan, and he had to make it count with a single strike. The thought ignited a murderous glint in Douglas's eyes. A dark shadow seemed to cling to him, radiating a chilling aura, filled with faint screams and ghostly roars that sent shivers down your spine. What is that evil energy? What kind of spirit does he have? Fang Xuan narrowed his eyes, feeling a gust of icy wind biting at his face. A force like nothing he'd ever felt rose from his feet, surging straight to the top of his head. Ha ha ha, Fang Xuan, brace yourself for my real power. Douglas threw back his head and laughed. His right hand suddenly swelled, his skin turning blood red, and razor-sharp nails sprouted, turning it into something like a beast's claw. In under 3 seconds, his hand had completely transformed from human to a scarlet, demonic claw, pulsing with evil energy and an aura of pure terror. What the hell? Fang Xuan was stunned. Douglas's transformation resembled Yu Tianheng's dragon transformation, but where Yu Tianheng became a dragon, Douglas was becoming something dark and twisted. Just this one demonic claw. The spectators were just as shocked. Douglas hadn't used this move on Yu Tianheng. The sight of the scarlet claw was seriously creeping people out. That's an awful energy. What in the world is Douglas's spirit? Emperor Shuya frowned, his face troubled. He wasn't exactly worried about Fang Xuan. He was more concerned about how Fang Xuan losing to Douglas would reflect on the empire. In the entire Tiando Academy, Ning Fengji was the most knowledgeable. The master of the Qibao glazed sect stared at Douglas and said gravely, if I had to guess, Douglas's spirit is an evil spirit, probably one of the ghosts straight out of hell. A ghost? Emperor Shuyi was visibly shaken. He'd never heard of anything like it. Your Majesty, evil spirits are incredibly dangerous, and their power is immense. This match is a serious risk for His Highness the Fifth Prince. Should we? Ning Fengji suggested stopping the match. Otherwise, Fang Xuan might not survive Douglas's attack. Hesitation clouded Emperor Shui's face, but he didn't give the order to stop the game. Father, it's too late, Qian Renxue sneered inwardly, watching Douglas closing in on Fang Xuan, secretly rejoicing, the game's over. Fang Xuan is toast, star. Sayonara, Fang Xuan. A sinister grin spread across Douglas's face, and he launched his attack. The scarlet ghost claw ripped through the air, surrounded by swirls of dark energy, aimed right at Fang Xuan's head. Ghost King Claw. The piercing shriek of the ghost claw was deafening, and the force tore at the skin. Even before the claw struck, the wind from it had scratched Fang Xuan's face, drawing a trickle of blood. This is serious, star. Fang Xuan's face was set. He could feel the horrifying power packed in Douglas's claw. A direct hit would probably rip him apart. Ice drawing technique, dance of fine snow. Pouring his soul power into the ice phoenix spirit, Fang Xuan's eyes flashed with icy light. The shadowless knife flashed from its sheath, and the 3 soul rings, yellow, purple, erupted around him, his soul power exploding like a volcano. The shadowless knife transformed into a shimmering ripple of snow, streaking through the air like a comet, slamming head-on into the fearsome ghost hand. Boom! The sound was deafening, and a shockwave of soul power blasted outwards. The collision cracked the solid marble arena, a huge split opening up in the middle. No way! People swallowed hard, staring in disbelief at Fang Xuan, still standing there calmly, unscathed. They were stunned. He blocked it. Fang Xuan actually blocked Douglas. The entire arena was in shock. In the heart of the ring, Fang Xuan's hair danced around him. He held the shadowless knife, his eyes fixed on Douglas, whose face was a mask of rage. A dangerous smile crept over Fang Xuan's lips. Alright, I'm still standing. Guess it's time for you to forfeit. Chapter 73 Crazy Bloody Battle, Testing the Waters and Pushing the Third Update. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Douglas' face turned purple, his mouth twitching uncontrollably. He'd talked a big game, but couldn't take down Fang Xuan with a single shot. He looked like he'd been publicly slapped, his face burning with humiliation. Looks like Douglas is gonna eat his words. Boos erupted from the crowd. Douglas, you're a joke. Why don't you just admit you're beat? Douglas Yen laid into him, and Douglas' face darkened. She usually gave Fang Xuan a hard time, but Douglas was even more irritating. Emperor Shuiyi, Ning Fengji, Meng Xinji, and the other education committee members exchanged amused glances. Douglas had promised, in front of everyone, that if he couldn't defeat Fang Xuan in one move, he'd immediately surrender. But he'd already made his move, and Fang Xuan was still standing. What now? Everyone was a little lost. That idiot, Qian Renxue cursed under her breath, furious that Douglas had made such a boast. Now everyone was piling on him. Was he really going to back down like this? Ref, I think I've won. On the platform, Fang Xuan didn't even bother looking at Douglas. He turned to the referee, confident in his victory. Go to hell, you little punk, Douglas roared, his face twisted with rage, and charged at Fang Xuan with murderous intent. His ghostly hand lashed out, aiming for Fang Xuan's back. Knew you'd pull something like that. I was ready for you, Fang Xuan smirked. He wasn't surprised by Douglas's sneak attack, he'd been expecting it. His shadowless knife flashed back, storm slash. 30% power boost. The blade sliced through the air, slamming into Douglas. The force of the strike sent him flying. Ack! Douglas screamed, spitting blood, his body tumbling 7 or 8 yards before slamming into the edge of the platform. He looked pathetic. The arena fell silent. The students, teachers, education committee, Shuiyi, Qian Renxue, and Ning Fengji were stunned. They couldn't believe what they'd just seen. Fang Xuan had taken Douglas down with one strike. Impossible. Wait, did that just happen? Fang Xuan just decked Douglas? Am I seeing things? How can a third-tier soul master beat a fourth-tier soul sect? They shouldn't even be in the same league. How did Fang Xuan do that? He's incredible. Murmurs of shock and disbelief rippled through the crowd. Was Douglas's winning streak about to end? Everyone had assumed Douglas would easily win the championship, making the final match seem dull. But now, with Douglas on the ground, everything had changed. The crowd buzzed with excitement. In the center of the arena, Fang Xuan stood with his sword, his black hair swaying, his 3 soul rings, yellow, purple, and purple, radiating power. His hard work over the past 3 days had paid off. He'd grown stronger, ready to fight Douglas. He glanced down at Douglas, who was struggling to get up. Fang Xuan scoffed, Douglas, stop faking it. I know you're not down for good. Get up and let's finish this. Douglas twitched and slowly pushed himself off the ground. Damn you. Fang Xuan, you'll pay for this. Douglas's face was contorted with fury. He stared at Fang Xuan, his eyes blazing. He was a level 40 soul sect, while Fang Xuan was only in his 30s, with 1 less soul ring. Nothing was more humiliating than being taken down by a weaker opponent. Come and get it. Fang Xuan's expression was cold, his eyes blazing as he charged towards Douglas. Yen returns. 30% speed boost. The shadowless knife became a white lightning bolt, slicing through the air with incredible speed, aiming for Douglas's head. Don't get cocky, Douglas roared, his 4 soul rings, yellow, yellow, purple, and purple, lit up, releasing the terrifying energy of a soul sect. He raised his right hand, his ghostly hand tearing through the air. Before Fang Xuan's knife could reach his head, he caught the shadowless knife. Fang Xuan missed his target, and a flicker of anger crossed his face. He quickly brought his knee up, slamming it into Douglas's stomach, making him gasp in pain. Go to hell, Douglas. Taking advantage of Douglas's vulnerability, Fang Xuan pulled back the shadowless knife and struck Douglas in the chest, slicing through several ribs, sending blood, flesh, and bone fragments flying. "Damn you, Fang Xuan! I'm going to rip you apart," Douglas screamed in pain, black energy swirling around him like a vengeful spirit. He lashed out at Fang Xuan's chest, tearing through skin and flesh, exposing bloody ribs. They were locked in a bloody, brutal fight, like wild animals, scattering blood and flesh across the arena. Is this even a game anymore? This is a brawl. Someone is going to die. Shouldn't someone stop this? Many people were horrified by the violence. On the stage, Fang Xuan and Douglas fought like madmen, covered in blood and bruises. The fight reached a climax, with a winner about to emerge. Chapter 70 For the last moment, testing the waters and pushing the fourth update. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Boom. Boom. Boom, asterisk asterisk, the crowd watched as the two fighters slammed into each other with savage intensity. Blood flew, rocks scattered, and a shockwave of spiritual energy blasted outwards. Silence fell. Everyone was transfixed, eyes glued to the brutal spectacle in the ring. This wasn't just a match, it was a fight for their lives. Bang! A shadowy figure landed a devastating blow. Fang Xuan cried out, feeling like he'd been hit by a semi-truck. He heard a sickening crack and sucked in a breath. The force of the impact caved in his chest, sending him staggering backward. 7 steps, a mouthful of blood, and a face ashen as death. Fang Xuan's breath came in ragged gasps, and he struggled to stay on his feet. The bloody exchange had taken its toll. Both fighters were battered, bruised, and running on fumes. Fang Xuan's masterful swordsmanship had kept him in the fight against Douglas, but now, his lower spirit level was starting to show. He was only level 37, while Douglas, at 41 with an extra spirit ring, had a significant advantage in spiritual energy. If he couldn't turn the tide, he was done for. Eyes narrowed, expression grim, Fang Xuan channeled his 9-heart begonia to heal himself, all while keeping a wary eye on Douglas and desperately searching for a new strategy. Ha! Fang Xuan, finally running out of steam, are we? Douglas's sneer dripped with malice. You should be proud, a measly 3-ring soul master giving me this much trouble. But now, it's time for you to die. Third spirit skill, Howl of the Damned. Douglas's third purple ring flared with blinding light. The shadowy figure around him roared, unleashing a tidal wave of dark, demonic energy. A grotesque, snarling visage formed, lunging at Fang Xuan. Crap sword style. Cyclone slash. Fang Xuan's eyes flashed. The shadowless blade shot out, a blinding streak of light, tearing through the ghostly face and scattering dark energy in all directions. It was working. Douglas was weakening. Relief flooded Fang Xuan. He could feel it. Douglas's spiritual energy was fading, and his attacks were less ferocious than before. Maybe, just maybe, he still had a chance. Hope surged through him. I can't believe it. Fang Xuan's actually holding his own against Douglas. Emperor Shui looked genuinely impressed. Fang Xuan's performance had exceeded all expectations. He was a match for Douglas. If they were the same age, Douglas wouldn't stand a chance, Ning Fengji murmured, his gaze fixed on Fang Xuan with undisguised admiration. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Douglas, you useless idiot, you're going to lose to Fang Xuan. Qian Renshua seethed inwardly, her face twisting with rage as she watched the stalemate unfold. Her plan had been simple. Douglas would kill Fang Xuan in a seemingly fair fight. An accidental death, no repercussions, and one less threat to worry about. A perfect solution. But Fang Xuan's unexpected strength had thrown a wrench in the works. If this kept up, everything could fall apart. Incredible. Fang Xuan's way stronger than anyone thought. He's going toe-to-toe with Douglas. How did that kid get so powerful so fast? So, who do you think will win? Could Fang Xuan actually pull this off? The crowd buzzed with excitement and disbelief. Fang Xuan's performance had been a shock to everyone. Boom, the two warriors collided again, the ground cracking beneath their feet as the force of their blows unleashed a furious gust of wind. Douglas's left arm snapped, bone piercing through flesh near the elbow, dripping blood in a gruesome display. Ghostly claws tore across Fang Xuan's chest, leaving 3 bloody gashes that reached the bone. He staggered back, badly wounded. This was it. The final moments. Exhausted and battered, each fighter had one last attack left in them. They knew it. Neither dared to make the first move, choosing instead to create distance and gather their remaining strength for a final, decisive strike. Silence descended, every breath was held, every eye riveted on the two figures in the ring. Tension hung in the air, thick and suffocating, as they waited for the inevitable clash. It all came down to this. Fourth spirit skill. Evil spirit descent. Douglas roared, his purple hair flying wildly as his fourth dark purple ring blazed with an eerie glow. The ghostly figure roared, unleashing an overwhelming wave of demonic energy that engulfed Douglas entirely, radiating an aura of pure malevolence. What the hell is that? Fang Xuan recoiled, a wave of dread washing over him. It was like 1,000 tormented souls were screaming in his ears, sending shivers down his spine. Heh, time to die, Fang Xuan. From the black mist, a nightmarish specter lunged forward, a hellish abomination filled with malice and rage. It was Douglas, transformed into a living nightmare, intent on one thing, killing Fang Xuan. Staring at the monstrous figure that had once been Douglas, Fang Xuan felt a chill run down his spine. He was facing death itself. This guy was seriously strong. But in his eyes, determination burned. Channeling every last ounce of his spiritual energy into his seraph spirit, Fang Xuan finally activated his new spirit. Within his core, the seraph came to life, bathed in divine light. Golden energy enveloped Fang Xuan, radiating a holy and powerful aura that repelled the darkness. Drawing technique of light, judgment, sorrow, that with a flash of his eyes, Fang Xuan swung the shadowless blade, now glowing with golden light, and launched himself at the monstrous Douglas. Chapter 75 Defeat. Fifth update to test the waters. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Ding dong, evil presence detected. Judgment of Sorrow's passive ability activated. Attack power increased by 100%. Judgment of Sorrow. As the shadowless sword touched the demonic energy, Fang Xuan heard a system alert in his head. The golden blade, previously just 3 feet long, surged to over 9 feet, radiating holy power. Swing, that the dark demonic energy spewed by Douglas met Fang Xuan's sacred light like hitting a wall. It disintegrated on contact. Fang Xuan grinned and swung the shadowless knife with everything he had, slamming Judgment of Sorrow into Douglas. The ghostly energy possessing him ripped apart, sending him flying. Bang, that the sound was deafening as Douglas was nearly cleaved in two. Arg. He screamed, blood gushing from his wounds, bones shattered. The force of the blow sent him sprawling backwards, 7 meters until he slammed into the ring's edge. Blood and bits of organ sprayed from his mouth. The arena went silent, every eye turned to the grim figure standing with the bloody blade. Everyone was stunned. In the ring center, Fang Xuan, covered in blood, black hair a mess, stood alone with the dripping blade. His deep eyes burned with a wild intensity. Fang Xuan wins. Finally, someone screamed, breaking the silence. Then, the crowd erupted. Cheers and shouts rolled like a wave, shaking the entire Tiando Academy. Holy crap! Fang Xuan actually beat Douglas. Unbelievable. How did he do it? A miracle. I just saw a miracle happen. That everyone was shocked and thrilled. Fang Xuan, a third-ring soul master, had defeated Douglas, a fourth-ring. It defied belief. Everyone had assumed Douglas would win, but Fang Xuan had turned the tables with one strike, demolishing Douglas and claiming the championship with a display of raw power. Excellent. Fantastic. Ha ha ha. Emperor Shui was ecstatic, watching Fang Xuan with affection and appreciation. laughing with pure joy. Fang Xuan's victory over Douglas, who everyone considered unbeatable, had made waves. His incredible fighting ability and obvious talent had won everyone over. Many changed their minds about him. The good-for-nothing prince had become the most talented genius in the entire Tiando Royal Academy. Bar none. In that moment, having just crushed Douglas, Fang Xuan was the strongest. Yu Tianheng, Chu Zhongtian, Du Guyan, and the others couldn't even compare. Amazing. Just amazing. Fang Xuan defeated Douglas. Ning Fengji, leader of the Seven Treasure Glazed sect, one of the top 3, carried real weight with his praise. A smile played on his gentle face as he admired Fang Xuan. Fang Xuan can't inherit the throne, but his strength is clear to everyone. If we could bring him into the Seven Treasure Glazed sect, he could protect Rong later. Ning Fengji was already planning, seeing Fang Xuan's talent and wanting him to join their sect to protect his daughter. Ning Rongrong, like Bone Douluo and Sword Douluo, support-type soul masters needed protection from a strong fighter. Their 7 treasures glazed pagoda martial soul needed a strong attack-based soul master to reach its full potential. After the match, Ning Fengji was determined to recruit Fang Xuan into the 7 treasures glazed sect at any cost. TCH, Douglas, what a loser. Losing to Fang Xuan. Qian Renxue watched Douglas lying half dead in the ring, her pretty face darkening. She cursed him under her breath. That incompetent fool had ruined her carefully laid plans, and she was furious. In the stands, the teachers were buzzing. Fang Xuan won, my student won the championship. Teacher Rulin was stunned. She was a low-level teacher, but she'd taught a champion genius. It was incredible. Congratulations, Teacher Rulin, for teaching such an outstanding student. Qi Ming smiled, offering sincere congratulations. The students were surprised, reacting to Fang Xuan's victory in different ways. Wow! Unbelievable! Fang Xuan is so strong, he actually beat Douglas. Du Guyan gasped, barely believing it. Fang Xuan, you're so strong. Yu Tianheng stared at Fang Xuan, a huge sense of frustration rising inside him. He clenched his fists. That guy got stronger again. Yi Lingling pursed her lips, surprise on her chubby cheeks, fidgeting with her fingers. In the ring, Fang Xuan took a deep breath. He heard the noise, but it didn't faze him. His expression was calm. Referee, shouldn't you announce the results? Coolly sheathing his sword, Fang Xuan looked expectantly at Education Committee member Meng Xinji. Right, Meng Xinji blinked, snapping out of his shock. He looked surprised, opened his mouth, and prepared to declare Fang Xuan the winner. Just then, Douglas, still lying on the ground, struggled to lift his head and stare at Fang Xuan. His handsome face twisted with hatred and madness. A white jade bottle appeared in Douglas' hand. He yanked out the stopper and poured a scarlet fruit into his mouth. Boom, star energy surged through his body, instantly healing his wounds. His aura exploded, even stronger than before. Fang Xuan. I'm going to kill you. His roar shook the arena. Chapter 76. The 5th update is completed. Begging for recommendation votes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 5th update done. Hit me with those recommendation votes. Just checked the stats, and we're sitting at number 4. That's right on the bubble, could go either way. Tough competition this round with a lot of big names in the mix. I'm sweating it. Making the top 3 would really solidify things, so, thanks for all the support so far. Please keep the recommendation votes coming. Even just adding it to your favorites helps boost the ranking. As for tomorrow's update, if we get enough votes and follows, I'll aim for around 8,000 words. It's a grind, especially since some of you might not know I juggle 2 books. I've got another one I churn out 4,000 words a day for, just to hit the daily quota. So, 10,000 words here, 4,000 there, that's 14,000 words a day. Wrote until 2 a.m. last night, been glued to the screen all day today, and still gotta crank out another 4,000 words. Feeling a little lightheaded and struggling to write. This writer life is rough. Anyway, I'll do my best and hope for the best. Thanks, everyone. Chapter 77 Evil Spirit Flowers and Immortal Herbs, First Update. Please recommend and collect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What the heck just happened? The sudden shift stunned everyone. Douglas, who Fang Xuan had seemingly defeated, lying half dead on the ground, suddenly leaped to his feet, radiating demonic energy. His power was even more intense than before. Confusion rippled through the crowd. No. Douglas has taken some kind of strength-enhancing drug. Ning Fengji exclaimed, turning to Emperor Shui. Your Majesty, the match must be stopped immediately, or Fang Xuan is in grave danger. Emperor Shui, observing Douglas's bestial frenzy, frowned deeply. Sensing the foul play, he commanded, Douglas. Cease this at once. Your Majesty, if I recall correctly, there's no rule against performance enhancers in this competition. Douglas sneered, his once handsome face twisted into a demonic mask. Well. Everyone was speechless. The genius battle had few rules, encouraging competitors to use any means necessary to win. This freedom was meant to test their all-around skills and prevent the creation of sheltered, inexperienced fighters. Now, Douglas blatantly exploited this loophole, consuming the evil spirit flower in broad daylight. It was blatant cheating, but technically, it wasn't against the rules. Even Emperor Shuya and Meng Xinji were silent. The soul power just keeps on coming, Douglas roared, his demonic energy intensifying. The evil spirit flower had instantly healed his wounds, and even boosted his soul power by 2 levels, reaching level 43. He was stronger than ever. This is bad. Douglas's aura is terrifying. That drug really upped his game. Qi Ming said, concerned. Oh no. Is Fang Xuan in serious trouble? What can we do? Teacher Roland asked, her pretty face etched with worry. That's so low, he's juiced up. Yu Tianheng, Du Guyan, Yi Lingling, and the other students were outraged by Douglas's cheating. Just when Fang Xuan seemed poised for victory, Douglas had resurrected himself. Though Fang Xuan could heal himself, he couldn't replenish his soul power and stamina fast enough. Now, exhausted and running on empty, how could Fang Xuan possibly stand a chance against a supercharged Douglas? It's over. Looks like Fang Xuan won't be able to pull off a miracle after all. A collective sigh of disappointment swept through the spectators, on stage. Doping, Fang Xuan narrowed his eyes at Douglas, a dangerous smirk playing on his lips. All right. Since you're on drugs, let's see whose stuff is better. What are you babbling about? I took a top-tier enhancement, the evil spirit flower. It's second only to the legendary immortal herbs. Douglas crossed his arms, looking down on Fang Xuan with disdain. You don't actually think you have some mythical fairy herb, do you? Congrats, you're right, I am a fairy. Fang Xuan held out his right hand, and a massive chrysanthemum materialized out of thin air. It was a magnificent, purple chrysanthemum. The petals appeared soft and fluffy, almost cute. The golden stamens towered over the petals, and the whole flower radiated a brilliant, captivating light. It lacked any fragrance, but it was impossible to ignore. This is... The crowd gasped in disbelief. A real immortal herb. The huge purple chrysanthemum was indeed an immortal herb, the marvelous velvet chrysanthemum. It's really an immortal herb. How is that possible? How could you have an immortal herb? Seeing Fang Xuan produce the herb, Douglas was stunned into silence, his face contorted in disbelief. He'd just finished saying Fang Xuan couldn't have one, and now he'd been proven wrong. Marvelous velvet chrysanthemum. A neutral celestial herb that delivers energy to the limbs and blood vessels, capable of creating an indestructible body. Fang Xuan figured this was the perfect boost for him. Without hesitation, he stuffed the chrysanthemum into his mouth and swallowed it whole. Boom. The herb's potent power erupted within him, like a volcanic eruption, nourishing his depleted soul power and strengthening every part of his body. Aya, Fang Xuan roared, his body feeling like a burning furnace. The blood in his veins boiled, and the soul power in his core skyrocketed. Level 38. Level 39. Level 40. Boom! Fang Xuan's soul power was instantly restored, and he broke through a barrier, leveling up 3 times in a row, reaching level 40. Feeling the surge of power, he clenched his fists, a look of pure excitement on his face. He was stronger than ever. Perhaps it was because he'd consumed other fairy herbs before, but his body seemed more resistant to them. This time, the marvelous velvet chrysanthemum only boosted him by 3 levels. But it was enough. Looking at Douglas across the stage, Fang Xuan was confident he could win. Damn you, Fang Xuan. I'm going to kill you. Douglas's eyes burned red, and his face twisted into a monstrous rage. Black energy poured from his body as he transformed back into a demonic ghost, charging towards Fang Xuan. The drawing technique of light, the sorrow of judgment. Fang Xuan's eyes were cold. He calmly drew his sword and slashed at Douglas. The seraphim spirit naturally suppressed dark forces, doubling the power of his attack. Fang Xuan unleashed a sacred sword technique against Douglas. Whoosh! A golden streak of light flashed across the sky, gentle yet lethally sharp. It sliced through Douglas' body like lightning. Clang! Fang Xuan calmly sheathed his sword, and a bloody head rolled to his feet. The whole scene was an artistic display of swordplay. The audience was in awe. Chapter 78 Champion. Second update. Please collect and recommend. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. That final strike left everyone stunned. Silence hung over the central square for what felt like forever. Fang Xuan won. The quiet declaration shattered the silence, instantly igniting the crowd. Cheers and shouts erupted from every direction, washing over Fang Xuan like a tidal wave. Phew! Fang Xuan breathed a sigh of relief, a smile spreading across his face. He won, finally. It wasn't easy, ding dong, star. Congratulations on defeating a 4-ringed soul sect. Reward, 1,000 sword draws, 1,000 soul power. The cold, mechanical voice in his head surprised him, then sent him into ecstasy. He hadn't expected such a generous reward for defeating Douglas. Usually, killing a soul master only gets you 100 sword draws and 100 soul power. But defeating a soul sect granted a 10-fold increase, with a whopping 1,000 of each. Looks like the kill rewards scale with the opponent's level. If a soul sect gives 1,000 sword draws, what about a soul king? Soul emperor? Or even a contra? The rewards must be astronomical. Imagine taking down a title Douluo. The sword draw rewards would probably break the bank. He could probably rig the system and pull a 100,000-year soul ring. The thought made Fang Xuan giddy, even more excited than winning the championship. Ultimate sword drawing system. Host, Fang Xuan. Level, LV40. Title, Soul Lord. Soul Power, 1000/3000. Weapon, Shadowless Blade. Proficiency, Hinayana Drawing Sword Technique, 11/200. State of Mind Perception, Sword Power. God-Given Sword, 0. Martial Souls, Seraphim Soul, Intermediate 0/200. Ice Phoenix Soul, Intermediate 82/200. Nine-Hearted Begonia Soul, Elementary 83/100. Talents, Sorrow of Judgment, Dance of Fine Snow, Healing Blade. Sword Skills, Storm Slash, Super Strong. Sword Draw, plus 30% Sword Draw Power, Yanhui, Super High Speed Sword Draw, plus 30% Draw Speed. Available Sword Draws, 1,000. Fang Xuan calmed down, checked his stats. He jumped to level 40, got 1,000 sword draws, enough to spend, and he was one step away from becoming a level 41 soul sect. But leveling up required more soul power. He needed a full 3,000 points to reach level 41, which meant a long grind. Fang Xuan's victory over Douglas sent shockwaves through the crowd. Everyone loved a good underdog story, and they buzzed with excitement. Ha ha ha, excellent. 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 Emperor Shui clapped, his face lit up with delight as he stared at Fang Xuan, who would have thought that the unknown Fang Xuan would defeat Douglas with one blow and claim the championship in dominant fashion, leaving the whole place speechless. Amazing. Just amazing. Fang Xuan surpassed Douglas. I doubt many of his generation can compare. Ning Fengji's face glowed with admiration. He kept his eyes on Fang Xuan, thinking, Fang Xuan's birth prevents him from inheriting the empire. I need to find a way to bring him to the 7 treasure glazed tile school so he can protect Rongrong in the future. Damn it, Douglas, that loser. He couldn't even defeat Fang Xuan, he got killed. Qian Renshue's expression was hard to read, her cold gaze fixed on Fang Xuan. Her beautiful eyes narrowed with barely concealed killing intent. Fang Xuan's success was a threat to her. She hadn't expected Fang Xuan to be so secretive, not only possessing such incredible strength, but also a treasure like those rare herbs. Qian Renshue's eyes were icy as she realized she'd underestimated Fang Xuan. Unbelievable, Fang Xuan actually won. Teacher Rulin exclaimed. Huh, looks like Fang Xuan is the #1 in Heavendo City. Qin Ming clicked his tongue in surprise, he never thought the Forgotten Prince could take down the young elites and win the championship in one fell swoop. It defied belief. TCH, that awful guy defeated Douglas, so what? Du Guyen curled her lip, a little resentful as she watched the spotlight shine on Fang Xuan. She didn't like Douglas or Fang Xuan. Whoever won, she wasn't thrilled. Why couldn't they both just die already? Du Guyen muttered. Yen, what are you plotting? Yi Lingling blinked, noticed the girl's sly grin, and pinched her cheek. Fang Xuan. Yu Tianheng's expression was complicated as he stared intently at Fang Xuan, his eyes burning with ambition that quickly faded. Well. He sighed, looking defeated, knowing he could no longer compete with Fang Xuan. There wasn't another student in Heavendo Academy who could stand against him. At that moment, Fang Xuan was the best in the entire Heavendo Royal Academy. Fang Xuan. I'll train harder. If I can't do it as a soul sect, I'll become a soul king. If I can't do it as a soul king, I'll become a soul emperor, and if that doesn't work, I'll become a title Douluo, until I surpass you. Yu Tianheng's eyes burned with determination as he clenched his fists and vowed to surpass Fang Xuan. Referee, you can announce the results now. I don't think anyone will interrupt this time. Fang Xuan stood calmly on the stage, looking at Meng Xinji, who was still dazed. He didn't care much about being the champion, but he definitely wanted the prize, the 10,000-year soul bone. A treasure countless soul masters dreamed of. Like soul rings, soul bones came from soul beasts, but the odds were 1 in 1,000, if not worse, they were incredibly rare and valuable. Even titled Douluo level experts coveted them. An average soul bone could fetch millions, even tens of millions of gold coins, and they were invaluable. I wonder if soul bones increase martial soul proficiency. Fang Xuan's heart raced with anticipation. Ahem. Meng Xinji snapped out of it, a bright smile spreading across his wrinkled face. I hereby declare the winner of this year's elite competition, Fang Xuan. Fang Xuan. Fang Xuan. The cheers and applause swelled, drowning out everything else as Heavendo Academy erupted. So this is what it's like to be a champion. Not bad. Fang Xuan stood in the center of the arena, looking at the faces below, listening to the applause, feeling pretty good about himself. Then, a cold voice cut through the noise. Hold on. Chapter 79 Ask for an explanation, 3rd update. Please collect and recommend. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The happy chatter in the audience was sliced through by a sharp voice. What's going on? Who said that? Everyone froze, confused. Fang Xuan frowned, scanning the VIP section. His eyes landed on an old man in a red robe, probably in his 50s. The man's eyes were bloodshot, his face contorted with rage as he glared at Fang Xuan with murderous intent. You little beast. I'll kill you. The red-robed man looked deranged. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, black, black. 7 brilliant soul rings blazed around him, and the terrifying aura of a soul saint exploded outward. With a roar, he launched himself forward. His overwhelming power ripped through the air as he charged towards Fang Xuan, intent on murder. 7-ringed soul saint. Fang Xuan's heart leaped. He felt like prey caught in the sights of a wild animal, and a chill ran down his spine. Die. Before anyone could react, the red-robed man reached the arena, murder in his eyes. His right fist punched through the air, aiming straight for Fang Xuan's head. Outrageous. How dare you? Stop him. At the critical moment, Meng Xinji, Bai Baoshan, and Jilin roared. The 3 Soul Douluos responsible for maintaining order at the tournament leaped into action, joining forces to restrain the red-robed man. Whoa! Snapping back to reality after the near-death experience, Fang Xuan found his clothes soaked in cold sweat. Facing the overwhelming murderous aura of the Soul Saint, he had been paralyzed, unable to move a muscle, weak. I'm too weak. Fang Xuan clenched his fists, frustration boiling inside him. The pride and excitement of defeating Douglas vanished instantly, so what if he was dominant among the younger generation? In the vast world of Douluo continent, soul lords and soul sects were just insignificant nobodies. Any 2-bit sect or small kingdom could send a seasoned master to snuff him out without a second thought. He's considered someone with great potential. But that assumes he lives long enough to realize that potential. He doesn't have a title Douluo to protect him. He's on his own. Fang Xuan's gaze turned cold, focusing on the man's hate-filled face. He couldn't help but feel a flicker of murderous intent himself. Though Meng Xinji and the others had subdued the red-robed man, he was still glaring at Fang Xuan, his murderous intent undiminished. It made Fang Xuan's blood run cold. At the same time, he was also puzzled. What could have driven this powerful soul saint to attack him so suddenly? Damn it! Let me go. Does the Tiando Empire always resort to bullying? The red-robed man struggled wildly, glaring angrily at Emperor Xuya on the throne. Your Majesty, Douglas was a prince of the Baloch Kingdom. Now he's been poisoned and died for no reason at Tiando Academy. You owe us an explanation. Hearing this, everyone finally understood. The red-robed man was from the Baloch Kingdom and had attacked Fang Xuan seeking revenge for Douglas's death. I see. Fang Xuan's eyes were like ice as he stared at the red-robed man. During their fight, Douglas tried to kill him several times, which many people witnessed. But Douglas failed and ended up getting killed instead. And now, this old guy had the nerve to accuse him first. How shameless. Fang Xuan felt no guilt or regret for killing Douglas. The guy brought it on himself. From the moment they stepped into the arena, he sensed Douglas's murderous intent, so naturally, he wouldn't hold back, kill to stop killing. That's the principle Fang Xuan lived by. Oh, another mess. Emperor Xuya frowned, clearly not viewing the situation as simply as Fang Xuan did. After all, a prince of a kingdom had died within the Tiando Empire. While Xuya wasn't afraid of the Baloch Kingdom, it would inevitably stir up controversy and trouble, possibly even resentment from the Baloch Kingdom. This situation had to be avoided if possible. Duke Black of the Kingdom of Baloch, your prince's death was unfortunate. It was a pure accident that no one could have foreseen. Emperor Xuya gestured for Meng Xinji and the others to release the red-robed man, then said calmly, if you have any requests, make them. As compensation, I'll do my best to grant them. Compensation? Very well. I hope your Majesty keeps his word. I have only one request, and that is. The red-robed soul Saint Black sneered, pointing at Fang Xuan. Let Fang Xuan be buried alongside our prince. What? Let Fang Xuan be buried with him. A wave of shock rippled through the crowd. Everyone in Tiando City knew that Fang Xuan was, in effect, Emperor Xuya's son. Though initially just an insignificant bastard, Fang Xuan had shown such incredible potential that Emperor Shuya was overjoyed and now paid him great attention, and now, a soul saint from the Baloch kingdom was demanding that Fang Xuan pay with his life. It was outrageous. Douglas's death in the arena had been a complete accident. In a fight where both sides were giving it their all, death and injury were to be expected. Your prince was already beaten to a pulp, clinging to life, and he was the one who decided to use drugs. But the drugs didn't affect Fang Xuan, he was killed with a knife. Who could blame Fang Xuan for that? Moreover, when Douglas had the upper hand and was about to kill Fang Xuan, you didn't intervene. Many people began murmuring, looking at Black with disdain. Humph! Fang Xuan snorted, raising an eyebrow. His expression was calm, he didn't bother saying a word, simply waiting for Emperor Shuya's final decision. His current performance had already captured Emperor Shuya's attention. Unless the Emperor had lost his mind, he wouldn't allow Fang Xuan to be sacrificed for a dead Douglas. After all, in the Emperor's eyes, profit always came first. And Fang Xuan had already proven his value. Just as he expected, upon hearing Black's request, Emperor Shuya rejected it with a cold expression. Impossible. Fang Xuan is the most outstanding talent in Tiando Academy. From now on, I will never allow any harm to come to him, or I will charge this debt to your Baloch kingdom. That it was a stark warning. Emperor Shuya finally displayed the imposing aura of the Tiando Empire's leader. He was utterly domineering as he glared at Black. Even a powerful soul saint couldn't stand up to the emperor of a great empire. Black's heart turned to ice, and he trembled involuntarily. Chapter 80 50,000 Years Soul Bone, 4th Update. Please collect and recommend. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. You paid debts with money, and murder with your life. Blake spat the words out, grinding his teeth. Emperor Shui was fuming. This guy was just a low-level soul saint, but he had the nerve to be this disrespectful. One word from him, and he could erase this dude from existence, but they were in a public place, a ton of people watching from below, and a prince from the other side had just died. Their fight was, at least, justifiable, so, Emperor Shui said, forcing himself to be patient, here's what we're going to do. I'm dropping the issue with Fang Xuan. I'll let you escort Douglas's body back home and I'll compensate you 5 million gold soul coins. We'll call it even. His tone shifted, becoming low and menacing. Otherwise. He didn't finish the sentence, but Blake understood perfectly, the Emperor's patience was wearing thin. If he kept being stubborn and dared say no one more time, he might not make it back to Baloch Kingdom alive. Fine. Thank you, Your Majesty. Blake's face was a mess. Despite his dissatisfaction, he could only nod, faced with Emperor Shui's warning. What was he going to do? Disagree? Disagreement meant a death sentence. Excellent. Shui nodded slightly, a satisfied smile gracing his features. Well, looks like things have been resolved. Everyone watching let out a collective sigh of relief. 5 million gold soul coins. Fang Xuan's eyes bugged out at the astronomical sum. Hold on a second, I have something to say. He blurted. Huh? Everyone stared at Fang Xuan, dumbfounded. His Majesty just coughed up a fortune to smooth things over for him. Why couldn't he just keep his mouth shut? Why did he have to jump in and stir things up? Fang Xuan just wanted to live a quiet life, but 5 million was a lot of money. He couldn't help himself. 5 million is a bit much. How about we knock it down a bit? Fang Xuan said, flashing an innocent smile at Blake. Everyone froze. Dude, you just won the championship, could you at least try not to be so shameless? Speechless, they couldn't believe Fang Xuan was worried about money. Douglas was dead, why did they need so much cash? Dude, with that kind of money, you could buy me. I'm broke. Fang Xuan was thinking, he wanted to buy a good knife from that crazy old guy, and he needed money. Fang Xuan, shut it. Emperor Shui, face dark, snapped at him. He had just barely explained the situation to Blake, and this good-for-nothing kid was about to screw it all up. TCH. That little weasel. Blake scowled, cursing Fang Xuan under his breath. He grabbed Douglas's body and hurried off the stage. Before he left, he gave Fang Xuan a cold stare. Well, at least this whole mess was finally over. The tournament had reached its conclusion, and next up was the award ceremony. Since Fang Xuan had won, Emperor Shui was especially pleased and gave the top 10 students the title of Viscount. Fang Xuan went from an ordinary guy to a distinguished noble. Everyone else was green with envy, but this kind of title wasn't worth much in the Douluo continent. He would have preferred the cash. Soul Bone. Soul Bone. Fang Xuan practically skipped to the stage, eager to claim his prize. Before the tournament, he had heard the winner got a 10,000-year-old soul bone with fire affinity. You could only have 6 soul bones on your body. Each one was crazy valuable. Fang Xuan didn't have a single one yet, so he couldn't wait to get his hands on the Empire's reward. He wondered which body part it was for. Fang Xuan thought, his excitement growing. Fang Xuan, congrats on winning. Here's your reward. Emperor Shui walked over, beaming, and patted Fang Xuan on the shoulder. Then, he flipped his hand over, revealing a green soul bone that shimmered brightly. The moment the soul bone appeared, everyone's attention was glued to it. People were practically drooling, their eyes burning with desire. Even Meng Xinji and the other soul Douluos looked jealous. This is. Fang Xuan blinked, then snatched the soul bone from Emperor Shui's hand, examining it closely. Hey, wasn't it supposed to be a 10,000-year-old fire-type soul bone? The aura coming from this bone was obviously plant-based, not fire. Did they switch it out on me? He was starting to think someone had messed with his prize, stolen it from him, maybe even wanted him dead. You're right, it's not the original 10,000-year fire soul bone. Emperor Shui chuckled, a glint of pride in his eyes. He leaned close to Fang Xuan, whispering, this is a plant type, 50,000-year soul bone. 50,000-year soul bone. Fang Xuan's eyes widened. He couldn't believe it, no wonder the aura was so intense. What was going on? Wasn't it supposed to be 10,000 years? How did it suddenly become 50,000? Fang Xuan was confused, but then he saw the Emperor's kind expression. It clicked. Emperor Shui was trying to win him over, compensate him for the past mistreatment with this bone so he could serve the Tiando Empire wholeheartedly. Typical Emperor move, showing courage. Most people wouldn't hand over a 50,000-year soul bone, it was too precious. If a bone that powerful was lost, there would be a horde of titled Douluos fighting for it. But Shui was giving it to Fang Xuan as a prize. Fang Xuan started to admire the Emperor. But no matter what, Fang Xuan was super happy to get such a valuable soul bone for free. Fang Xuan, this soul bone is incredibly precious. Stay at Tiando Academy and absorb it completely. Emperor Shui said, his voice firm. Understood. Fang Xuan nodded, pocketing the soul bone, and so, the genius tournament came to an end.